Hello, my name is Rose Riley, and I'm a member of the League of Women Voters of Washtenaw County. Welcome to our online candidate forum for the August 6th primary election. The League is a nonpartisan, nonprofit organization that promotes voter education and participation. And we host candidate forums to help voters make informed choices.
Hello, my name is Paula Drummond, and I'm the manager of the Adult Services Department at the Whitaker Road branch of the Ypsilanti District Library. Welcome to our online candidate forum for the Ypsilani Township Clerk in the August 6th primary election. The League and the Ypsilanti District Library are nonpartisan, nonprofit organizations that promote voter education and participation. And we host candidate forums to help voters make informed choices. Now, let's hear from the candidates.
Good evening and welcome. My name is Geoff Smerek and I will moderate the forum tonight. It's my honor to introduce the two Democratic primary candidates running for Ypsilanti Charter Township Clerk, Christina Benitez and Debbie Swanson. Welcome, candidates. We will begin now with our opening statements, and Ms. Benitez, you have the first opening statement, please.
Thank you so much. And I just want to thank the League of Women Voters and the Ypsilanti District Library for hosting this for us. So my name is Christina Benitez. I'm running for Clerk of Ypsilanti Township. I have been working in the Ypsilanti Township Clerk's office for a few years now. And I absolutely love what I do. I love the residents that I work with. I love everything to do with the elections. With all of that being said, there are so many issues that I, care about, from affordable housing to offering, access to mental health services. But if there was one thing that if there was only one thing that I could do in my time in office, that would be to get more residents involved in local government, because this is what we're here for. And I think that even if I got just one more person involved, my time in office would be a success. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Benitez. And now, Ms. Swanson, may we have your opening statement, ma'am?
Yes, good evening. I'd also like to thank the League of Women Voters, the Ypsilanti District Library, and once this is uploaded, I want to thank all the residents and the community members who take the time to watch, because it's important to have as many people as possible involved in making decisions for our government. My name's Debbie Swanson. I have I'm a lifelong resident of Ypsilanti Township. I've spent my whole life here working to be a better citizen myself. And when things need help, I try to help and be a part of that. I've been a teacher for 39 years. I started working in government as a park commissioner and served for 20 years. And I'm finishing my first 4-year term as a trustee. So I've learned a lot. I think I have a lot of experience that I can bring to the office. And I think that I can be a positive part of working with others to make our community a place that is safe and happy, and that we're happy, and that we can take care of people and make it well. So I'm seeking the position of clerk because I want to have more say in taking care of our community. Thank you.
Thank you, candidates. And now to the questions. We will start with Ms. Swanson for the first question. What is the role of township clerk in improving voter access and turnout? What specific actions would you take to reach eligible voters in Ypsilanti Township?
So the role of the clerk is to hold the elections and make sure that our elections are fair and that they're run with integrity, so that people can trust that when they interact and they vote, that is going to be something that they can feel is safe, and that it's happened in a way that has integrity, and that it counts. So free, fair elections. So the role they play is making sure that people have access to information, access to the polls, access to places, and now with all the changes that have happened, there's more access for people to be able to vote. So from registering people to vote, making sure that people know how to apply for absentee ballots if that's how they choose. There's so many different ways that people can vote, that making sure that information is easily accessible, making sure people know where the polling places are, if they were to move, knowing how to get to those polling places. And so the clerk plays a very large role in that. The other piece that I think the clerk can also play a large role in is the idea of, like, when someone wants to run for office, making sure that there's no mystery in that process, making sure that deadlines, timelines, when ballots are going to be received, when they're going out, how do you run for office, where can you get the information for that? Sometimes, I mean, I've run for office several times and I still find myself having to hunt for things and knowing where to find it on the county's website. And I think our local clerk's office could also help in just making that accessible for people to know.
Thank you, Ms. Swanson. And Ms. Benitez, same question to you, ma'am.
Yes, would you mind repeating the question, please?
Absolutely. What is the role of the township clerk in improving voter access and voter turnout? What specific actions would you take to reach eligible voters in Ypsilanti Township?
So yes, so the clerk is supposed to manage all aspects of the elections. So getting that information out to voters is incredibly important, whether that is using social media to send out that information, whether that's sending out mailers to make sure that they have that information, as well as making sure they have access to their polling locations, that it's an appropriate distance from their house, that they know where it is. Sometimes people, you'll find that oftentimes people are confused about where their polling location is. But in a more general sense, I think that there is a lot of disillusionment with the voting process, not just in Ypsilanti Township, but across our nation in general. And I think that providing more education about why your vote matters, especially on a local level, is very important. And one way that I would like to do that would be to work with like the school districts to develop programs to get our youth involved, whether that's actually going to these schools and presenting to educate to the children, or as well as even developing a program where children can get hands-on experience in their own mock elections. I think would give them a lot of education on how the voting process works, and they'll grow into adults who want to continue voting.
Thank you, Ms. Benitez. And Ms. Benitez, you start with the next question. The township spends more than $6 million a year on police services purchased from Washtenaw County. Is this a satisfactory and cost-effective arrangement?
So I will be honest, I don't have enough information on that topic to answer it appropriately, but I will do more research to find that out.
Thanks, Ms. Benitez. And same question to you, Ms. Swanson.
So one of the things the township is currently doing is trying to look through how much we spend for police services and to find out actually what we're getting for those services. So we're currently working with a company to help us find out what we're actually paying for with those $6 million, because it does sound like a lot of money, and it's slated to get even more expensive. So when we found out that was going to happen, we had to really look and see, like, what are we paying for? And we weren't able to get really good detail on what that is. So currently, I don't know exactly what that is because the study's still coming back. It should be back soon, but we are seeking to actively find out what are we paying for with the 6 million, what will we be paying for in the increases that are happening, so that we can make better decisions about whether that is an appropriate amount of money to be spending for the services that we receive.
Thank you, Ms. Swanson. And you start the next question. The township has a multi-million-dollar annual budget. What experience or education prepares you to oversee township finances of this magnitude?
So currently finishing the 4-year term of trustee, one of the roles of a trustee is to work with the 3 full-time officials to plan for the budget and to go over the budget. That's one of the biggest things the trustees do every year. And so I would say with the skill set that I've learned how to read a budget and how to understand the budget. And one of the things that's really good about the township budget is that the township has a lot of detail on the budget where you can go and look and see. It's transparent. You can see what the money's being spent on. Most of the work that we do is coming back and following the budget and making sure that when there is a spending that needs to happen, that there is a budget line for that. And it isn't just for that particular year. You can see in past years, you can see that. So I think I could have more experience with that, but I think the 4 years have taught me the importance of the budget. And I feel that the township does a really good job of budgeting and planning. The employees do a great job planning for the budget coming back, because it's that long-term planning that they have where they know, do they have the money for that? If they don't, how could they make changes? So even when they come to the board meetings and there has to be something that's changed, they always come with, and here's what we're going to do, and here's how we do it, or here's how we'll work it out. And so my training would be that, and as a small business owner, I've also managed budgets on my own. But at the township level, I think that trustee position is such an important role because that is what they do. Their oversight is to communicate with and follow that budget process.
Thank you, Ms. Swanson. And now, Ms. Benitez, same question to you, ma'am.
Yes, the budget is incredibly important. We're managing, taxpayer dollars that need to be allocated and spent in a responsible way that reflects the needs and desires of the community. I do have experience developing budgets, but no decision is made in a vacuum. So what I mean by that is that there are also 6 other board members who I would also rely on, as well as our, team of financial advisors and trusted advisors who have knowledge about the different projects and initiatives, and work with those people to develop the proper budgets. And no 2 situations are the same. So treating every budget decision that comes our way as an individual aspect that we need to go over, learn more about, and rely on our community to hear them and see what they're looking for in our community.
Thank you, Ms. Benitez. And the next question starts with you also. What do you understand to be the legal duties of a township clerk, and what are your qualifications to perform those duties?
So the legal duties of the clerk is to manage every aspect of the elections, from issuing and receiving ballots, designating polling locations, hiring poll workers, as well as record keeping. We in the clerk's office manage the records of our legal documents, contracts, different things like that, that I have direct experience with. I do that every day in my time in the clerk's office. And as well as, also the clerk's office handles the FOIA requests. So, managing the public records, making sure that the appropriate records are being shared with, the requester, and that we're not sharing improper documents like legal, like things that are protected by attorney-client privilege. So there are a lot of aspects of the clerk's office. They handle a lot of different things, but that is what I do every day, and it's what I love to do.
Thank you, Ms. Benitez. And Ms. Swanson, same question to you, ma'am.
So as was stated, the clerk has a lot of responsibilities, elections, managing the elections, FOIA requests, but accounting, they also oversee the accounting department. They are responsible for all the official minutes, the agendas. They are the one that sits at the table and goes through and reads things when it's at the table, at the board table for that. And also interfacing with people. There's quite a few things that people come in where you're trying to problem solve with them, whether it's property, where they come in and there's first things, like there's a couple situations where we had something where our current clerk had to go find because it hadn't been done in quite a while, where like pieces of property, or they needed to change it over and they were going to get a certain like something from the state. And so they are the official record keeper. When bids go out, they are the one that helps get that in place. And when they come in, they're the ones that open them. So they're that interfacing office with a lot of the work that happens at the township. And qualified, I have not worked in a clerk's office. I've been a teacher. I understand the importance of confidentiality, that there are certain things that can't be shared because of confidentiality. I've had to follow processes and procedures for all of my career and learn how to do things, especially when things are updated. So we recently had to create all the new election procedures, served on the election commission for helping with that, changing the precincts, reducing the size of the precincts. So experience with those types of things and support of the clerk's office and the work that they were doing.
Thank you, Ms. Swanson. And you start the next question. Do you believe Michigan's elections are fair and reliable? And were past election results accurate?
I do believe that Michigan's elections are fair and they're accurate. I do believe the results of the past elections in Michigan. I do think the climate, though, in our country in general, is that a lot of people are frustrated and they don't necessarily believe that to be true. And I think there's a role in leadership that has to be helping share that information. People have to feel that it is. I think the rules and the things that we're doing have to be transparent. And I think we have to be ambassadors that help people feel like our elections are free and fair and they're things that people can rely on. And that's hard in the climate that we have today. So I think of my role as a teacher. When something's happening in school, I can either choose to be that person who keeps the calm and tells the truth and tries to help share that with other people. And I think a clerk will do the same thing. And there are going to be people who are upset. Maybe they don't feel that way. And just the importance of knowing that the role of a clerk is making sure that we do things that don't lead to people being frustrated. You've got to listen to people. You've got to understand that they have feelings and opinions that maybe they aren't the same as yours, but we have to be able to build that bridge of trust so that people can feel better about elections. And I think at the local level, I think those relationships that are built with people, the way people are treated, I think at the local level, sometimes you don't see some of the stuff that we hear nationally or at a bigger scale. And that's why I think the importance of what happens at the local level, those relationships is critical.
Thank you, Ms. Swanson. And Ms. Benitez, same question to you, ma'am.
Yes, I absolutely do believe our elections to be accurate. And I believe that because I see it every day. I work with really dedicated people who really value the election process and protecting our residents' democratic rights. And I don't just see it in Ypsilanti Township. I see it in our surrounding municipalities, Augusta Township, Superior Township, Scioto Township. And so I know that when I'm voting, I know I don't ever worry about where my ballot is going. I know where it's going. So yes, absolutely.
Thank you, Ms. Benitez. And you start the next question. What improvements, if any, do you want to see in the township record keeping and financial operations?
So that's a great question. I actually do a lot of the record keeping in our office. A lot of it is electronic. And with that comes the difficulty of properly filing things in a way that is easy to find and makes a lot of, makes sense, makes logical sense. So I would like to see, because our records, for so long were not digital. A lot of them we're trying to transfer over to become digital. Because of that, we do have some backlog in that area. And I would like to see if we had more people working to get those files digitized and organized in a logical way.
Thank you, Ms. Benitez. And Ms. Swanson, same question to you, ma'am.
So I would say the same about the digital part. I know in the last 4 years, we've tried to transfer things over to digital, and then knowing how important it is to actually look at those documents, because sometimes things can be scanned and just to make sure that the document is what it is before any decision to not have the paper one is not there. And then I think there is a lot that has to be thought about how to move forward with all the paperwork and all those documents that are in place. I'd like to see a lot more written down as far as policies and procedures. So as far as even like minutes and agendas, like so that though all of that information isn't in any particular person's head, I'd like it to be more transparent and written down so that people can actually see, oh, this is how we do things. That way it's not person dependent. It's always there to be used for the whole office, updated until forever. And so I do think the digital part is super important, but I also think policies and procedures about how we do things, how we do the business. I think that just looking at bids, I'd also like to go through some of the bid paperwork that we have and just make sure that it is up to date and current. I know at one point I was looking through some of it and it just didn't make sense. It was referring to contractors all as he's, and we know that the world has changed and it isn't that anymore. And so even taking a look at just is the language that we're using and things that we're asking people to fill out, is that accurate? Because those also become records that get kept.
Thank you. And the next question will be our final question for this evening. And we start off with you, Ms. Swanson. Part of the county-wide mental health public safety millage is used by Washtenaw County to reduce the fee it charges to local governments, including Scioto Township, for policing services. Do you support a renewal of the millage? Should the use of these millage funds be changed?
So I do think that mental health services are critically important. I think the way the millage was split with police services has given great concern to a lot of people. And I do support us having millages that support mental health services. As far as what portion is used for policing, we're still trying to get an answer to the services that we've received. So I feel like it's hard for me to give an answer to that part because we don't understand clearly what we've been given and what the services we received. I do think that part of that process for having the millage and giving money to the different municipalities for policing was also money was given to other municipalities that had their own police force. So it wasn't that it was just going to the townships that contracted. There was also money going to cities and other places where they had their own police force. I don't know that that was designated that it would be used for police service, or not for police services or for mental health. So I think there's a lot of questions around that millage, but do we need services to help people? We do.
Thank you, Ms. Swanson. And Ms. Benitez, same question to you, ma'am.
Yes, could you repeat the question, please?
Yes. Part of the county-wide mental health and public safety millage is used by Washtenaw County to reduce the fee it charges to local governments, including Ypsilani Township, for policing services. Do you support a renewal of the millage? And should the use of these millage funds be changed?
So I cannot say definitely whether or not I support a renewal of the millage. What I can say is that I do support I do support these mental health, providing these mental health services. And I definitely believe that we have a need for them within the community.
Thank you, Ms. Benitez, and thank you, candidates, for your good answers. It's now time for our closing statements. We will begin with Ms. Benitez. Ms. Benitez, may we have your closing statement, please?
Yes. Again, I just want to reiterate how thankful I am to be able to be a part of this. And I would just like to say that through my time in the clerk's office, I have really grown to love what I do, and even more so the community that I do it for. And I look forward to the possibility of working in this office in a higher capacity so that I can serve our community.
Thank you, Ms. Benitez. And Ms. Swanson, may we have your closing statement?
So I also want to say again that I appreciate the opportunity for this forum and the opportunity to get information out to voters. Knowing that this is going to be something that voters can view, I want to speak directly to them and tell you that I'm grateful if you take the time to look at this video and weigh your options. I want to tell you that I love this community as much as you do. I want this community to thrive and always possible for everybody. I think we do have some challenges, but I also think we have a lot to celebrate in our community, and I'd like to be part of moving us forward as a clerk. So thank you. And I feel like I have the experience and the knowledge and the work ethic to figure things out if I don't know. And I would appreciate the opportunity to serve, to continue to serve. I'm grateful for all the opportunities that the voters have given me to serve. 20 years as a park commissioner, 4 years as a trustee. And so I would really like the opportunity to serve as your clerk.
Thank you, candidates, for this valuable session. Ms. Drummond will now provide closing comments.
The League and the Ypsilanti District Library thank the candidates and volunteers who participated in this forum and community members who submitted questions. Please urge others to view our forums. Most importantly, please vote in the August 6th primary election, either by absentee ballot or in person.
The League thanks the candidates and volunteers who participated in today's forum and the community members who submitted questions. Please urge others to view our forums. Most importantly, please vote in the August 6th primary election, whether by absentee ballot or in person.